This one's going to be a little different. It is a mega compilation of this past year's videos put into 1 hour video. For those who don't watch every single part and just want to catch up in one big video, this is for you. I hope you enjoy, and happy Thanksgiving. In this one, we yank out the motor. We start the firewall. Where's the motor? There's the motor. We yank that motor out. We start this firewall. And we modify the transmission cross member and a couple other things. But it's a lot, but it's a little bit. It's a lot, but it's a little bit. But it's progress, positive progress, so. Remove whatever this is. What is this? What's this? What's that? What's that? What, these like little UFOs? What the heck? What is this stuff? I don't know, but I'm taking it off. Gotta go, my friend, you gotta go. Why is everything different size? What the heck? So I lied. I didn't lie to you, I lied to myself. I did not pull all the pulleys off of this motor because I don't feel like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook the auto parts store engine leveler up to the intake. And I'm gonna lift this thing out, but I almost forgot to take the shifter out. That would have been horrible, so I'm gonna take the shifter out first. All right, I got her lifted up. And good thing that motor mount is trash. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this motor pulled out of here. I'm sure I'm gonna snag up on a couple things, but it'll be all right. Seems I should have dropped this exhaust pipe out of here before I tried to pull the motor. Lesson learned, I think. I don't want to pry by that. That's a starter, but there ain't much else to pry by. Look at that motor mount. Good gravy. Hey, nothing left of that. Get some stay dry on this transmission fluid because that's horrible. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to clean up behind the car so I can push the car backwards. I think we got it freed up to where I can push the car up underneath the motor. I hope. Oh, I got the car all the way down first, ding-a-ling. Here we are. And why are we pulling the motor out? To move it back 1.5 inches. Or about 8.5. Let's get that cut out and trimmed up. I trimmed that little corner off too, but it's gonna go right there. I don't mind sanding. It's kind of always been a blessing because, you know, in the scheme of car building, the one thing everybody hates is sanding. So the fact that I don't really mind it is a huge benefit for me because I always have something to do somewhere. Okay. All this stuff in here, I am going to have some overlapping. That doesn't bother me too much for the firewall, honestly, because there's a lot of that anyway. And then I'll seam seal everything really good, and I'll make some kind of firewall pad, and it'll be all right. I'm gonna make this little piece, tack it in, get a bunch more tacks in here, and then I'll get back with you guys. That is it for me. We got some work done on this firewall. It's not finished, but it's a good start, solid start. And so far I'm happy with it. We've got the brake booster clearing. We've got some strength added in there. It's almost welded up. I got to clean up some of these corners and stuff like that, and finish up this side, trim that back, finish that up. But it is a good start. Pardon the sound of the furnace running over there somewhere. It's cold. It snowed a lot. I'm gonna pull all the gobbledygook off of this motor today, I think. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do today. Okay, so the motor mount originally sits right here. And of course I need to move it an inch and a half this way. So what I'm gonna do is, we actually have 3 holes in the bottom of the block for motor mounts. I'm gonna take this piece of, I think it's 1/8 inch stock, and drill 3 holes in it and bolt it to the side of the block. And then I'm gonna put studs in it for the motor mount. So once that's bolted to the side of the block, I'll be able to mount it, my motor mount right there where I need it. And that should solve the problem. So that's basically what it'll be. That's a loose, we'll call it a mock-up. I wanted to make sure nothing hit, nothing spins, you know, nothing's bound up. I gotta notch it maybe for this oil sender. And of course I gotta put the 3rd bolt in there, but I think this is gonna work just fine. It's nice and simple. It moves the motor like I need it to, and it should be plenty strong. I think I'll probably add a rib at least between these 2 bolt holes, or maybe some kind of rib along the top or something, maybe just to make it a little stronger. But I really think that that's strong enough for what it needs to be, especially considering how much the motor mount will allow for vibration. I think I'm finished with the firewall, as finished as I want to be today. It's a little ugly down there in that corner, and I got a little bit down in that corner yet, but I was debating spraying some black spray paint on it, but when I have to take the car back apart and finish up any welding that I missed, it's gonna make it more difficult. So I guess I'll just leave it raw steel for now. I don't know, maybe I'll black it. It'd be nice to know what it's gonna look like. I got like a 1/4 can of flat black Rust-Oleum, so I don't know how far it'll go. Let me, there we go. But at least this will be like, you know, it'll feel done. Even though it's not done, it'll feel like we accomplished something. It's a motivator, that's all it is. Motivator. We'll let this dry down. I'm gonna start getting the motor ready. I want to test fit the motor again. I know I gotta do a bunch of gaskets and stuff to it, but again, I want to test fit it again. So the problem is I'm hitting on the transmission mount. So I'm gonna have to either drop the transmission cross member or pop the mount off the transmission and put it back in, you know, under the car, under the lift. That's what's keeping me from going back. So I gotta deal with that. So far, all I can see is maybe clearance the distributor. I'm not using this distributor because it's a electronic advance. I'm gonna use a vacuum advance. So I could either order the more slender distributor, or when I take everything out, I could just notch for that a little bit. Of course, I probably won't need to because there won't be a plug on the back of the distributor I'm using. So I'm gonna roll this thing forward so we can get the transmission bolted up, and then see if the drive shaft fits the way it's supposed to, and that will be it for the day. So let's go ahead and roll this thing forward and get it on the lift. My firewall doesn't look too bad with the engine sitting back in there. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab my core support, my radiator support out of the building and see if I could save any hardware or anything from it. But the big thing is cleaning up these threads, cleaning out these holes, because these 3 bolt holes line up with these 3. And what I'm going to do is take the headlight buckets out of the car, because they're actually heavier than you think they'd be. Take those out, clean up all these holes, bolt that core support to the front fenders, both front fenders, and then hang them on the car together. And then bolt them, twist them, line them up, set the hood on, and start making supports and braces to get everything bolted permanently to the car. Here is my core support. I don't think there's anything usable off of this one. Aha! Victory! Oh my dear! Oh, holy guacamole! Look at that. That is disgusting. Honestly, I'm just gonna be done with that. I'm gonna bolt this brace back on it. I'm not gonna do the front holes or anything yet. I'm just going to leave that as strong enough and start bolting the fenders to it. I got to tear this back out and get to it again later anyway, so keep it simple. These mice are not messing around. I've got the front fenders propped up. Now I'm going to try to get that core support sitting in here. Put it on the core support. And it's pretty close. It is a little goofy from one side to the other, but that can be twisted later. So I'm just trying to accept it that it's close, but it doesn't seem close at all. Maybe it is. Anyway, measuring from the floor, everything matches up. Using the level, everything matches up. So I'm gonna get some hardware. I need to think on this, make some things, some work out, hopefully work out. But that's where I'm at right now. I gave it a couple twists and now it is much better. You see it kind of falls level with the top of the cowl there. that's not 100% reliable, but that's what my eyes are seeing. And you know, your eyes don't really lie to you. When you see something wrong in a build like this, usually you're right. If it looks twisted or wonky, it usually is. All right. So take my level here and 2 lug nuts. You can see we aren't perfectly level, but for what we got here, we're close enough to level. Drop it down here. This is just from bumper mount bolt to bumper mount bolt. It is from bumper mount bolt to bumper mount bolt. It is pretty level. And then we'll go up underneath the core support here. Sorry, it's dusty. Hang on one moment. You see, that is also pretty level. So all of my base points are fairly level. I probably should go ahead and check the cowl again too, if I can reach it. Maybe I can. Hang on. And on the cowl, it's not too bad. Everything's fairly level. It's level enough to when I bolt everything, I can move things up and down and left and right and all that, but I got a mess under my feet. You can see everything looks pretty good. So when you do something by yourself like this, if you're ever forced to do it, it's a balancing game, not a strength game. You gotta balance things up and down, left and right, not try to brute force things into place. I'm debating if I should go ahead and grab the grill out of the building too and throw it up on there just to stare at it. What do you think? Oh no, you go under the grill. Under the grill. Now back. There we go. There we go. So that needs a little finessing, but that's okay. That's a start. Sorry you had to see that violence. So now I need to split that, what's half of 35? Is anybody gonna guess before I guess? 17 and a half? So if you're getting into this stuff and you're just now gathering tools, anytime you go to a flea market or a garage sale or yard sale or anything like that, and they have vice grip style clamps, get them. So, this piece here is supposed to be flat down there. It's tucked up underneath there, but I'm not gonna mess with it. There we go. My temporary balance. And then I think it's supposed to tie into the car somehow. So I'll have to work on that. I think it's supposed to tie into the core support somehow so it's not flapping in the breeze, because that would not be good. All right. I think that's done. All right, there's that. There we go. Oh yeah, that's better back there. There we go. I ran out of time. It's already after 5 o'clock, but I got the top edge cut in butt. There's a couple rusty areas where the trim holes were. I'll have to deal with those separately, but I want to get it all welded solid first, fix that hole. But that's progress. You know, we killed an hour and a half or so. And when you cut in butt, let's go around here real quick. When you cut in butt, this is the old metal that was underlapped rather, and it just falls out as you go. When you cut through the 2 layers of metal, or the 1 layer of metal, right on the edge, you can see you get a nice butt weld. So there's no rust trapped between 2 layers of metal. So you could see more on that on Fitzy's Fabrication, his site, his YouTube channel. There's liquid death cans everywhere. I'm such a slob. Hoo-wee. All right, what else is next? I think we go ahead and fill this thing with water. Then I got to clear wires out of the way and all kinds of other things. I don't want to dump antifreeze all over the garage floor in case this doesn't hold. And if it does hold, then I can just drain it back out because there's no antifreeze in this and add some antifreeze to it. Probably not today though. Again, my big goal for today is just to see if I can get this thing running again. Just fine. I don't know if I have enough gas in that jug to pull any up. Come on now. Well, you know the water pump. Yeah, and that maybe not even a quart, maybe half a quart. Enough to fill up the funnel. Yeah, that's about half a quart. There's no giant puddles underneath of it, so I think we're going to be okay. Works. In this lighting on a car, I'm assuming it's going to lose it pretty quick. And I don't have much for brakes right now. I got to bleed them again. But I just want to try to move this thing. Needs more transmission fluid for sure. There we go. Again, sorry for the lighting out here, but hey, it's running on its own. I don't want to let it run too long. I don't want it to get hot. But here is our side profile. I've got to do some brakes and other things because they're pretty cruddy. But you know, that's to be expected. Again, I don't want to run it too long. I don't have a fan. I do have a radiator, but I don't have a fan. But there it is. All right, now key on. These two should come to life, but the yellow one should be dead. So accessories, yep. And coil, yep. And then this is our starter. So I should, when I crank the key, I don't want to touch anything else. When I crank the key, this should become hot. And when I let off, it should stop. So yeah, that's our starter wire. So now, we know that all the ends of the black one should be hot. This blue one, which was our coil, we can find that in the end of here now, and we can label it with some tape. So I've only got one blue one, it looks like, hanging out of here, so that should be it right there, and that is it. When I turn the key off, that blue one should be dead. And now it is dead. So we can label that ignition coil. Just wiring up the ignition switch. I brought some of the original wiring harness plugs over here, and I got them hanging in the dash. Just the stuff that I was going to use. I might show it more later, but it's not really that interesting, and it's not really that easy to explain. But I just want to get the basic wiring ran and figured out so that I will be closer to having a full car. I need to pick up sheet metal and shielding gas and a bunch of other errands, and I just haven't felt like running through town to do it yet. So kind of jumping the gun. Kind of jumping the gun a little bit on wiring, but it's all stuff that needs figured out and done. And it's one of the bigger things. You know, once everything works, it'll be so much easier just to fire it up and drive it around, move it around. So I popped the light switch out of the 59 parts car, and then I found this piece of like nylon. I think it's some kind of bushing, and it fits perfect. And this switch works, everything works. I'm just gonna leave this in. And this is why I saved everything from the Caprice. I've got plenty of light sockets. Just testing it out, and we already have a left turn signal working. So now I know that I could run that to the back of the car if I need to, or the front, but the back, because the front has its own different lights. Stop lights. They work. All right, now let's check turn signals. We'll do left turn signal. And now right turn signal. Perfect. Awesome. Now we're pretty much done with what has to run to the rear of the car. Let's try the turn signals too while we're at it. That should be left. Okay. I couldn't hear the couldn't hear it clicking, the flasher clicking, but now I can. All right, right. I don't know. I don't hear it clicking. To investigate that. I don't hear the flasher clicking. Okay. I didn't touch anything. I just opened the trunk. Tail lights. What was I doing? Stop lights. Stop lights. Sorry. There we go. Let's do tail lights and stop lights. Stop lights and turn signals. Now, ain't that just beautiful? Perfect. Fits great. Snugged down properly. Looks good. I'm happy. Let me grab some brake clean real quick so we can clean the oil off the rotor. I already did the backside with acetone while it was laying up on the bench there, so that's probably too much. You don't need much, just enough to wipe the oil off. Not that serious. So obviously this side's dusty and dirty. This side probably does look better than the other side, but I taped and untaped and retaped this side a bunch of times. The other one I just did it once and that was it. You can see they don't match from side to side, but that really doesn't bother me that much. This side's not as good as the other side. It's it'll dull down, but I think that that's going to be good enough for me. That matches enough for me. The average person wouldn't notice that the sides don't match and you can't see both sides at once. And now at least it's even. I can, you know, I can drive the car and people won't see it from one side and see it as black and see it from the other side and see it with flames. So I've been needing a matching set of wheels. So I saw, actually, I think I was inspired by Puddin's Fab Shop because he was running the Dorman wheels. You can get them from Amazon, but the local O'Reilly's had them for about the same price. Of course, they had to order them, but I got them next day anyway. So it was just like ordering online. Cannot complain. So what I did is I got the Dorman. What's the part number on this? 939177. These are the standard Chevrolet 15-inch steel wheel. I cruised the marketplace. I looked everywhere. For some reason, nobody was selling steel wheels. Can't explain it. They used to be everywhere. So I think that these are going to look perfect on the car. And as long as they fit the center hole on the front and rear, we're going to be in great shape. Which I think that they should just fine. Where are we at here? Doing this with one hand. There we go. Beautiful. This is why I've got to get matching tires, because it's getting old. Wow. So I picked up this steel strapping to fill this gap here. I'm going to weld that in, and then it'll be ready for some seam sealer. And we will be really marrying this car together, finally, because it's just had 4 tack welds in the corners holding the body up over the floors. So this is, it's a huge step. It doesn't look like it, but I'm officially committing to the 2 chassis being married together. So it is a big thing. This is almost kind of a flashback to the beginning of the channel. It was me working on these rockers from the start, right? This was the first thing I delved into, was this side of the rockers. So it's kind of a resurgence of that, getting back to the old school. How far we've come. Almost 15,000 subscribers. It's amazing. We are bridging this gap just fine. Working on this little corner piece here. That looks like a little bit of a cobbled mess, but it's something. I'm gonna hit some rust fix in this little crease and then seam seal it. And then we'll primer some of this. Hit it with a little seam sealer and then a little primer, and I'm gonna wrap this corner up. Okay, I got some seam sealer in it. I'm going to let it dry up a little bit, and then I'm just gonna hit it with some red primer. I'm gonna have to call it a day because unfortunately this whole day got away from me. It's a little premature, but we're gonna hit it with some red primer. Get some of this stuff out from underneath the car first. Don't wanna get overspray on it. A lot of spray painting in this video. I'll have to grind this back off later, but at least we could stand back and look at something. We'll just go up to the repair area. Dry all the way, since we're just goofing off right now. There we go. Might as well make it kind of more even. So it's actually not bad. I've got to trim this up and weld it and grind it. But if we bring it over here to the car, it goes right about here. So you see I got to dish this out a little more gently so it'll lay nicer on the car. And then that will curve that in a little bit, and hopefully we can flatten some of this out. And I think we can make it work. I'm going to weld it up some more, and then I'm going to start hammering and dollying on it and seeing how good we can make it. I've got some hammering and dollying done on this, and I like the way it's coming out. So I'm going to go ahead and finish welding it and grind it down. And I think it's just about ready to start getting it welded to the car. Again, it's not anything fancy or special, but for the shape that we need, I think that this is going to be okay. So I was able to get everything tacked in. This is just a temporary piece here. So I've got a bulge right here from where this is weak and cracked. You can see I could push it in and it'll pop right back out too. So I've got, right here it's coming out, but you can push it in. But when you push this in, you know, it's tin cannon from one to the other. Let's zoom out a bit. So it's tin cannon from one to the other. It's in here, it's creased up here, which I knew these quarter panels, you know, it's hammered in here. I knew these quarter panels were really bad. So I think what I'm gonna do is probably cut this whole section back out, get some new sheet metal and just remake it. And I'm honestly considering putting a piece of either square tubing or strapping inside of the quarter panel, just as a perfect straight line brace. Which might sound a little hokey, but I'll take you over here to the 59 Buick. The 59 Buick actually has that from factory, I guess, to keep the quarter panel from tin cannon. So I think if I hit it with some weld-through primer and just kind of spot weld it all the way down, I don't think it'll be too bad. It'll make the quarter panel stronger. It'll be easier to fight that wave, because I'm going to have to do a lot of hammering and dollying and shrinking and stuff on this quarter panel. And I'm not that great of a metal guy, and it's just not worth all the time in the learning curve to try to learn right now, you know? It'll be a simple solution. It'll be a good solution. And I think it'll be what's best for the car. But I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm not committed to it just yet. Anyway, I think the wheel well is looking good, the wheel opening. Oh. Dang it. There it went. Whew. That was exciting, wasn't it? All right, let me get my inflatorator. There we go. I should take the valve stem out. There she went. Oh. First of the year. You're all right. Come on. Okay, let's put you through the fence. There. Get out of here. You'll be fine now. hard to say. I might have got a little overzealous with the seam sealer, but there was a lot left of the tube. I didn't want to waste it. So we got that piece welded in and all seam sealed up. All right, so we got some work done today. It wasn't as much as I'd hoped, but the tire, this tire really fought me when it came to seating on the rim. It just wouldn't go. I had to throw some fire to it, which I have a clip of that from the live stream today. There it went. Man, this thing runs good. Once I get that proper carburetor on it, it's really going to be a peach, you know? Because this carburetor with all the sensors on it, it's not really set up for this. That's why it wants to die, because it has all like idle air mixture sensors and things, temperature sensors that aren't hooked up. Uh-oh. I was worried I was out of gas. It's looking mean though. Starting to look good. Got a bit more to do, but I got to trim this back a touch. Sometimes I'm a goof. I totally missed tacking this panel in. I didn't get any footage of that. I'm going to make a paper pattern. I picked up some magnets at Michael's. I'm just trying to make a basic pattern now, just so I know how big of a piece of metal I'm going to need. So here's the piece that I made. I guess I should split it. Yeah, that's going to be about the size of it. Shape this over my knee best I can. Get some tacks in this. Down through here is pretty extreme bend on the other side. So it's not really this is just to get it started. and we'll tack it along the top and hammer everything together to where it meets nicely. I want to check my shape. I think I ditched this way out on this side than I did the other side. But that's okay. I wanted more out of the other side, actually. I knew I was going to have to get some stuff fit and kind of redone. I might be able to get something on this. Kicks out real far, so I want to make sure I mimic that later. Does it match the other side? I don't know. I hope. I really hope it does. All right. Now I have got to clean up. Unfortunately, it's raining outside, so I can't take the car outside for beauty shots. But here we are, so far, 3/4 view. That's my favorite view. So you can see what we got going on. All right, I think I want to get, obviously, a new oil and amp gauge, if I could find one that's not completely falling apart like mine is. Everything else I'm fine with. I'll probably maybe paint that needle in the future, but I think that this looks a lot better. It cleaned up pretty good. I'm actually happy with that. I'm shocked that it cleaned up that nice. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up the rest of these and get back to you guys. I think that's it as far as knobs go for this thing. Honestly, this is one of the most important parts of the car, so that it looks nice is pretty cool. I also have this that I pulled out of the 59 parts car. It's an old gauge cluster. I like it because it's old and it's one piece, it's pot metal. I'll polish it up a little bit. If these old gauges work, I might use them, but probably not. And then I'll put it here just so I have some analog gauges to go along with the gauges that I already have. I'm being very gentle. I don't want to put any pressure on this. I could just get a magnet or a pair of pliers, but where's the fun in that? Okay. Well, that was actually a little bit of a fight, so. But I got it done. We got this little bit of a dent taken out. Again, I don't have any black spray paint for the first time in my life. So I'm just going to try to maybe jam this thing back on here. There we go. It went back on easier than it came off. It looks better. Move this out of the way. There we go. Perfect. Took the radio back out of it, so it would be lighter. I just want this to be plenty long, so I'm going to wind it pretty much all the way out because I want to get to the other end of it. But we got a lot of the dash back together. We got our radio in with the Bluetooth hooked up. So I apologize for all the background noise. We got a little heat wave going, so I got the AC and a fan running in here. But hopefully the LEDs will show up nice on the screen. It's bright out. So there's our LEDs. I've got a dimmer switch for them as well, because I'm not sure that the what is it, a rheostat in the original headlight switch will dim LEDs, and I want to be able to like turn them up really bright and dull them down to almost nothing if need be. So let's turn the radio on. Bluetooth will connect with the factory, there it was, factory knob. It's connected to my phone. That's one speaker. We don't want to play too much because the copyright will get us quick. Finally. Whew. All right, I'll do the rest of them and then come back. All right, bumper brackets are bolted on. Oh, okay, let's see. My other bumper fit great, but it was smashed to fit this car, so. Put our other screw here, and we'll have two mirrors. Good stuff. There. Not bad, actually. There we go. They're actually not too uneven, believe it or not. They look pretty good. I think that's a fine location. Car's looking cool. More and more pristine all the time. I like the weather. It's a good combination. Let's go ahead and thank the Shop Buddies channel members. I went ahead and wrote it on the nice Plymouth door because I was losing track on the other door. Plus, I'd like to get around to body working the other door at some point. So, we've got Bluegrass Rust and Revamps, Fubar Model Yard, George Faber, Mark Murphy, Junkyard Jabroni, Gen X Rising, Ben Johnson, Carl Coffrin, Terry Dooling, Craig Allen, Fried Pig Nipples, Morgan Lagasse, Ken Hoggard, Greg Lagasse Sr., I think it was Lagasse. Yeah, a bloke, Robert Lepanto, Elmore, Martin Kiska, Josh Long, Chrissy Taylor, Joe Francis, Sly Guy 2000, S. Gillis, and Hell's Damned. I appreciate you guys. This is all your fault. Doesn't it look so much better on the beautiful red door? All organized and written nice. Oh, I gotta add one more. Before we forget. We can't forget. In memory of Josh Saunders. There we go. We got to put him up there in memoriam. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next one. I appreciate anybody that watched and caught up with the videos. I will see you in a fresh video in a few days. Take care.